A social worker is one who has gone through the 3-year degree or through the fast-track process to qualify as a social worker. So it's a protected title.
Social workers typically help people through different stages and challenges of their life, and that includes their friends and families and communities.
I've been a social worker for almost 30 years.
I always say social workers are the conscience of every state.
I think some of the myths of social work can be that you don't have to be qualified to be a social worker.
People say we take children away and destroy families. They say the profession is, social workers are all women, and there's no career progression in social work.
So social work can sometimes be portrayed to be quite negatively in the media and people's understanding of what we do, when it's very far from the truth about what we actually do. And a lot of our patients that we work with and their families are very supportive of social work and their experiences, and they actually are happy to share that with their friends and family. Hi, I'm Tracy and I am the social work team lead at the Hospice. Social workers typically help people through different stages and challenges of their life, and that includes their friends and families and communities.
My name is Jude Osa Emmanuel Kato, and I am a qualified social worker. I currently work in the Hospice as one of the trio, three musketeers as we like to call ourselves. I'm a qualified best interest assessor. I'm also a qualified practice educator.
Hello, my name's Janine and I'm a social worker at the Community Hospice for the people of Greenwich and Bexley. I've been a social worker for almost 30 years and I've worked in a range of different settings.
A social worker is one who has gone through the 3-year degree or through the fast-track process to qualify as a social worker. So it's a protected title.
Social workers can be found in various settings, including schools, hospices, clinics and hospitals. And the goal of social work is to support people through the challenges in life, such as ill health, family crisis, drug and alcohol addictions and abuse.
I think social work is important in society because as humans, we all can have difficult times and struggles, and while some of us may have families or friends that we can fall on, some of us do not. And I think part of social work is enabling somebody to find the strengths that they have within themselves, but also being able to advocate for people when they don't have anybody to advocate for them.
I always say social workers are the conscience of every state. Social workers are like the foundations that holds the state. We're very proactive. We don't just come when there's crisis and then try to inject some sort of solution into this. We work with families from when we identify risks. And as social workers, we're proud to be part of this profession. It is a vocation and a calling.
I think one of my highlights is working with people that are underserved in our community, so people that maybe might not traditionally feel they can approach our services, that we are the face of the hospice, and we go out into the community and we serve them well, and we look at what's important to the patients. We look at what are some of the barriers for people to access hospice care, and we do our best to kind of remove those barriers and build trust. Trust is a really, really important issue that I've learned since being in hospice care. So when you start showing that you're reliable and that you do what you say you're going to do, and almost not proving yourself, but showing yourself that you're trustworthy and that you're a person of integrity and that you are able to get things done, it changes the perception of social work and hospice care.
I think some of the myths of social work can be that you don't have to be qualified to be a social worker. To become a registered social worker, you do have to have a qualification and study through university, and re-registration for social workers is annually, and we also have to provide quite an extensive amount of information to prove that we have continued our learning throughout the year.
One of my favourite myths is that social workers sit around drinking tea all day and talking. Another one is that social worker is easy and a slow pace, and that we break up families, and that's very far from the truth of what we do. We support families through the challenges and help them navigate a path that's best suitable for them.
People say we take children away and destroy families. They say the profession is, social workers are all women, and there's no career progression in social work. One, social workers do not destroy families, they do not tear families apart, and they do not just take children away. We work with other agencies, a team around the families, and where a child's life is at risk, we then intervene. So we don't destroy families. We absolutely try as much as possible to support families in the community. And the question about whether all social workers are women, I'm a living proof that not all social workers are women. But having said that, of the 99,000 plus social workers in the country, 17%, only 17% are men. The rest are women. Whether there is career progression in social work, there is career progression. I've just told you that I'm a qualified social worker, a qualified best interest assessor, and a qualified practice educator. There are other routes like the approved mental health practitioners, and social workers can progress to become managers and directors in whatever agencies they work in.
Some of the highs definitely are getting to meet such a varied amount of people, whether that be colleagues in different settings or people that we are really fortunate enough to work with, so adults and children. Today, for example, I've been working with 2 young people and got to share in the joy of what their day has been like today, so that's a real high.
Part of our work is to work in communities, and one of my favourite things is working from different community groups with different cultures, different backgrounds, with different languages. Understanding the norms and nuances in each family is really important to get to know the individual and how to serve and care for them better.
We're known to be very notorious. We don't collect wins, we don't collect spoils of wars. So when they say thank you to us, it's very difficult for us to collect those thank yous, but we're humans as well as social workers. But we go away with imaginary fists thumping in the air and say, yes, yes, we did it, we got that one right. So those are the highs of being a social worker. Now, the lows of social work is when we try as much as possible to work with a family and they continue to see or perceive us as the enemies, or when the media or society blames the profession for the failures in our society.
So social work can sometimes be portrayed to be quite negatively in the media and people's understanding of what we do, when it's very far from the truth about what we actually do. And a lot of our patients that we work with and their families are very supportive of social work and their experiences, and they actually are able to share that with their friends and family about their personal experience with social workers, and that actually social work can be very empowering, it can be very validating, encouraging, supporting, and we often advocate for people as well who perhaps maybe can't advocate for themselves.
Some of the lows are that it can be quite tiring at times, and when you're working alone, I think you can have a lot of time for reflection, but I think it's always good to know that there's a lot of good support here, particularly at the hospice.
So day-to-day social work for me is working alongside some amazing families and communities, working along with my social work colleagues and my nursing colleagues. When I was 5, I wanted to be a nurse, but unfortunately I fell over, cut my leg, and then there was blood everywhere, and that put that dream to bed. However, I decided to do social work instead, so I still get to do and be involved in some of the clinical discussions, which I find really interesting.
Our work is not typical like the statutory work. We do not complete care act assessments in the hospice. What we do, we don't have a typical day. When we wake up and go to work, we don't have a typical day. We could be moving shelves and moving furnitures, cleaning somebody's home, or running to make representations for the Home Office for this person, or applying for no recourse to public funds. It could be housing problems, it could be simply filling up forms. So there's no typical day for a social worker in the hospice.
So my day-to-day as a social worker in the hospice can look very different depending on the hour of the day to the day of the week. I'm really fortunate in that I'm able to work in a local hospital as well with my hospice colleagues who work in the hospital 7 days a week. And that gives me an opportunity to really enhance my skills of working with other professionals
We also are trained to have those difficult conversations with families and children during and post bereavement. These conversations are very difficult to have, but as social workers we are trained to speak to children as young as 3. We also work in partnership with our other sister agencies out there to carry out these difficult conversations. It is not the end of the journey for us. Once the people we work for has died, we continue to support their family members post-bereavement, and it can continue for as long as they want.
I would like to wish all the social workers and the trainee social workers a very happy Social Work and International Social Work Week. I think you all do an amazing job, and I feel very fortunate to be in this profession.
I hope you do have a fantastic week and you do have time to rest.
So happy Social Work Week for all my social work colleagues and anybody entering into the fun and crazy world of social work. All the students and all the apprentices that are proceeding forward in their careers, good luck, and it's going to be a fun journey.